The Chicago Sky hold the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. Who's on their list or who should be on their list to take it? And should the rumors be believed that the Chicago Sky are open to trading the number 3 overall pick? We're going to talk about it all and more, but first, we're going to play that intro.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And of course, the question that everybody kind of has right now, wondering what the Chicago Sky are going to do with that number 3 overall pick. And there are a lot of options for the Chicago Sky. The Sky have a clear need at the point guard position coming into this draft. And it is something that we hope that the Sky are going to be focused on, trying to shore up, because this is a point guard deep draft. Now, I do want to be clear here. All these point guards in this draft do have something that could cause the Chicago Sky to look in a different direction rather than draft these ladies. And that's really up for the GM in the Chicago Sky to really take a look at. Injuries all across the board, really, for a lot of these ladies. The ladies that I'm going to focus on right now in this episode are Olivia Miles, Azizi Fudd. We're also going to look at Tahina Papau and also Georgia Moore. And so these are the ones that I'm kind of focused on and zeroed in on right now at this part of the process. Some of these would be trade down targets for the Chicago Sky. These aren't all prospects that you necessarily take there at number 3, but this is more built around the Chicago Sky finding their point guard. And I think that is an important part. If you can find that in this draft, there's no perfect prospect. Despite what it is, there's no perfect prospect in this draft for the Chicago Sky because, again, like I said, they all have their flaws. They all as well there's just about every one of these ladies has some serious injury concern. And that's what the Chicago Sky really have to decide at what they're going to do. There's also the outside chance that maybe the Sky look at a different position at number 3 if they decide to keep it and maybe address the point guard with a veteran in free agency, as the Chicago Sky are going to have some of the most money in free agency as well. But the first prospect that I want to talk about is actually one of my favorite on this list, and that's Olivia Miles. And it's natural. Olivia Miles is going to be the top at a lot of the prospect list. A lot of the mock drafts are going to have the Chicago Sky taking Olivia Miles because it's one of those things that just makes sense. Now, Olivia Miles would have to make it past the Los Angeles Sparks there at number 2. A lot of the mocks have them going ahead and taking Kiki in that position, even though they have a lot of forwards on that. They have Rakia Jackson. They have Cameron Brink. Kiki actually played with Cameron Brink, so maybe there's some connection there that they want to look at. But overall, Olivia Miles to me is the best of everything that the Chicago Sky need. Yes, she does have that knee injury concern, which is the one reason why she may slide on top of some other things. But so far through this season in college basketball, through 4 games, Olivia Miles is flashing everything that could make her the pick and should make her the pick for the Chicago Sky. She's playing 33 minutes per game. She's averaging 18.3 points per game. She's getting 8 rebounds and 7 assists as well, as long as with 1 steal. And she's shooting 47% from 3. That was the one thing with Olivia Miles' game that you could have knocked her on. She coming into this season, she was a 26% three-point shooter. Now, I'm somebody who's a little hesitant when a player becomes a volume and high percentage three-point shooter in their senior year. But listen, when you look at Olivia Miles, man, she shows a lot of what you can need for the Chicago Sky team, and I like her a lot. Olivia Miles makes sense. You need somebody who can distribute. You need somebody who can shoot the ball. And I tell you what, if that three-point shooting that she's flashing so far through 4 games of this season end up being who she is, she could be the perfect prospect for the Chicago Sky. She theoretically can play next to Kennedy Carter if Kennedy stays a part of the Chicago Sky's long-term plans. I have a video on that because I know that's going to be a video that triggers some people, so I'm waiting to put everything together there, but there's a possibility that she's not. And so you got to look at that part of it. The biggest thing when you look at Olivia Miles to me is the knee injury. That's the biggest thing that you're looking for from her, in my opinion. And if you feel confident going through this season, and that's one of the benefits, is that we're going to get to see the whole entire season before making this decision. Olivia Miles just kind of makes sense. She just makes sense. She feels just about every potential void that you could want for this team. And so she's been cooking through the part of the season. And, we'll see what happens, man. Yeah, Olivia just makes so much sense, in my opinion, for the Chicago Sky team. You look at what she's been able to bring over her career, solid scorer when it comes down to it. I love Olivia Miles here for the Chicago Sky. The biggest question is, will she get there at number 3? If she's there, I think you take her and you let the rest work itself out. That's my opinion. The next one up is Azizi Fudd, and this is an interesting prospect because she also has some injury concerns, major injury concerns. Some could say that more injury concerns than Olivia Miles. Now, the one thing that she does have is a little bit more legit size, of course. But to me, while she's a great shooter, she's not nearly the distributor than Olivia Miles is. And so seeing her pop up, ESPN even right now has her being selected at number 3 by the Chicago Sky, even with Olivia Miles. They actually have Olivia Miles going number 4 to the Washington Mystics. This is the type of move where I would say you're trying to be too smart if that ends up being the case. She's only played 43 games in her college career because of injury and other things. There's so much unknown about Fudd that I just don't feel comfortable with her ability to stay on the court. I don't feel comfortable knowing exactly what her skill set's going to be. And while she has another year of eligibility left to play after the season, I don't know, man. I don't know. The one thing that I think that would make her fit this Sky team is her 3-point shooting. But even then, Olivia Miles so far this season is showing more because she's able to be on the court. So I think Fudd, while I can understand people being interested in her here for the Sky, to me, it just doesn't. Oh, we got Steve on there, but I don't know why he didn't add himself. My bad,
Yeah.
Steve. I didn't even have my headphones on. What's going on, bro?
No, yeah, I think it was tweaking anyway, but what's good?
What's good, man? So I talked about Olivia Miles to open up in her season so far in college. She's cooking. I still think she's the best prospect for this guy so far in this draft. I got into Fudd a little bit, but how do you feel about Olivia Miles?
Um, she's the number one draft choice if she's available, bar none. She gives us two things we desperately need. She can shoot the ball and she can distribute, and her distributing might be her best factor. And that the fact that she can shoot is probably her most underrated factor. So when it comes to that, it just fits everything. We already know what the process or what they're going into. Jeff already said we're looking for shooters. Well, I feel like you got a 2-in-1 when it comes to that. There's not too many people after Olivia, especially at the guard position, that's both that I could say that can give you both the best of both worlds when it comes to that. So, but I am interested to see if like are they really gonna target it shooting and get the best possible shooter because that was the first thing he said over distributing and a point guard. So um, like who knows? But I feel like if I'm Jeff and I'm in the decision make the choice, it's Olivia Mountain, bar none.
Okay, I like that, and I completely agree with you there. How do you feel about Fudd? Her injury concerns are just too much to me. I get it that she's a great shooter theoretically, but she's only played 43 games and she's a senior. She has another year eligibility left, but it's just so many injury concerns with me. I honestly think it'd probably be better for her to stay in college another year to stay healthy before she comes out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that would be the best unless she just completely goes for an absolute tear. Like when it comes to injuries a little bit, when it comes to women, I give a little bit more leeway because that's just something they typically deal with earlier more than men do. So there's a lot of players like Kelsey Grays, even Kelsey Chelsea Gray, not Kelsey. That hurt themselves to have major injuries from high school throughout college and still made it to the league and had a long, tenuous career. So, like, but the difference is like it's here and there. Like Chelsea Gray, she hurt herself in high school, recovered, looked good, got to Duke, injured herself again, and then had a pretty well long career before she hurt her knee again. So it's kind of like that. But when it comes to Izzy, it's too many major injuries back to back. And it's been she was hurt in high school. She came at UConn hurt. She got hurt at UConn again. And now with that being said, it's just too much of a risk. I feel like she should not necessarily the same thing, but it's kind of the same mindset. She should have a Haley Van Liv realizing that she needs that extra year to just put her over the top, set herself apart. And to be honest with you, with the next draft class, she could still be in that top three. She's that talented if she has the season that we expect her to. So I think it's in her best interest to do an extra year.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Next player on this list, and this is just focused on point guards. We'll get to other positions eventually, especially with what number 10 I think we draft at. Georgia Amore. How you feeling about her? I tell you what, through seeing her, watching her more, because she was probably the player coming into this. I was the least familiar with her game. But
Mhm.
watching her 5 games at Kentucky so far, the shooting's there, the distributing's there to a degree as well. Not at the level that I would say Olivia Miles is a distributor, but Georgia Moore has been a more consistent 3-point shooter over her career. And we know, like you said, of how Pagliosha and Tyler Marsh both talked about really prioritizing shooting. Do you think Georgia Moore could be a good one prospect here for the Sky as well?
Yeah, I feel like if I was to give tier, she's like my second tier when it comes to the draft process. If we're going to guard position, she's just like the lesser version of Olivia Mouse. Like if you was to say Olivia is a little bit more generational, I would say she is. She's more of a more generational talent. This she just Georgia does everything right. She's coached well. She's under a great coach now. And I like that she kind of went through a little bit of adversity because the first few games she didn't really look like herself. She didn't look like the Virginia Tech Georgia, and now she's starting to get on a roll, averaging 15 points right now and 8 assists. That's
Yeah.
something we need, shooting 37%. So I think the stats are going to constantly rise, and I'm just waiting to see what she do at the end of the season because that's one thing you really can't count out because I've seen some girls that you think just gonna be like, okay, she gonna coast her way and be and then they turn into something that you don't really expect. So who's to say she's in a different conference now? She in the SEC. She's gonna go up against way more talent than she's probably ever been. So this is the year to really see what she got.
100% agree with you there. I like her as a prospect. I don't like her more than Olivia Miles, but I do like her, and there is a chance. I know we're not going to talk about it here, but there is a chance that the Sky maybe address point guard later in this, and we're going to also talk about the rumor that they could be looking to trade the number 3 pick, and if they do trade down, she could be somebody that's on that list, and maybe somebody that they're comfortable with as well. I like Georgia's game, but just doesn't surpass Olivia Miles to me
Yeah,
in that at all. Next one that we're going to talk about and kind of finish out just these point guards we're going to talk about so far right now. We're going to have a lot of draft analysis between now and the actual draft. The draft is until what, March? So we got a lot of
March.
time
Yeah.
here. We're really early now going through this. Of course, the next one up, a lot of people have brought her up. She was initially, a lot of people thought she'd go to round 2. With her play so far, she's kind of moved back into the end of round 1. Tahina Papal, how you feeling about her?
Um, she's a weird one, and the reason I say she's a weird one is because she's on a team now that, like, I don't know if no, I didn't say this to you. I said this to Kev earlier. Like, see, South Carolina is not the dominant. I will say right now, they're not really the dominant South Carolina that we've seen in the past
Mhm.
3 years. So she has a little bit more responsibility in other phases of her game now than she's ever been, and it's starting to intrigue me because she was just a shooter. Like I'm an Oregon fan, most people know. So she came from Oregon, and that's what she was just good at. She could shoot that thing, and that's what Don liked about her, and that's why she transferred. But now, not only that, she's starting to get a pull-up dribble. She's starting to put the ball on the floor, go to the rim, and she's playing defense as well. So if she's there at 10, and let's say in the perfect scenario, we still keep 3, we get Olivia, to end the Pow Pow is not a bad choice at 10. It's not a bad choice at all.
Yeah.
And the way, and depending on the type of season she has, hell, she might be out of reach depending on how the draft goes.
Yeah, it's very well with her play as long as she can stay healthy. I know she's had 2 major knee injuries over the course of her career, but you're already seeing her move up mocks. You're already seeing people starting to be a lot more comfortable and understand that, hey, she's probably going to be able to stay healthy. That's the biggest question for her. She can pass very well, right? She's not the distributor that Olivia is, but she's a much better shooter for a longer period of time. She's shooting right now. Tahina is shooting 51% from 3 through the first 5 games, and she's taking 11 3-pointers per game. And if this Sky team is prioritizing shooting, man, she can shoot that thing.
Yeah, she really can, and she constantly improving.
for
So,
sure. So
um, you might be getting you a nice little player there if she's able to go. I think she's a nice she a nice fit for this team if we get her at 10.
exactly, and I agree, and I love what Brooklyn's saying here. Right, Tina is a great fit if we miss out on Olivia. Grab Sonya at Kraton at number Citron. Why did I say it like that? At number 3, and grab Tina Papal at number 10. But I wouldn't get Olivia Miles and Tina. Yeah, I mean,
Why not?
you could, right? I mean, you very well could because it's not like you don't need some point guard play off the bench too. You could, but I get what Brooklyn's getting at. It's like, why address two players that are basically at the same position where you can address two different positions? I completely agree with that. But that goes to the thing that we talked about. That really is determined by if Kennedy is actually part of this team's future, because if she's not, I can see you trying to run a backcourt of Olivia and Tahina out there. It's a small backcourt, but I can see it.
No, need Olivia. I gotta see Olivia Kennedy. There's no place. I don't.
I
It
agree.
has to happen.
Agree.
Like,
I'm just saying that if
yeah,
there's an if out there, which raises the question to the next thing. So, article came out from the Chicago Sun Time a couple of days ago, in which that it mentioned that the Chicago Sky are not against trading this number 3 overall pick and packaging this in a deal. Now, to me, my initial thought in seeing this means to me that maybe one of the point guards slated to go lower is maybe their preferred pick. And if you can pick up some assets and trade back and maybe get another pick around 11 or 12, that could be a thing for you. Because we know, for example, the Lynx, they do need a point guard. So if they want to move up, I still think it would end up biting the Sky in the ass. But there is a world in which that happens. What would you think if the Sky do decide to trade down and move out of number 3?
it would have to be for us. You getting somebody. I
Hmm.
feel like there's somebody in that trade that you're desperately wanting because to me, if at 10 is kind of like the perfect spot if we wanted if it's almost like it's a perfect scenario in case Olivia gets picked. We have based on the mock drafts as of right now, it's 3 to 4 point guards we could pick at that 10 spot being Tahina, Georgia, and we didn't even talk about Harmon out of Texas.
Yeah.
So she's an option as well. So yeah, I can see. My thing is what's the package? Who's involved in the package, and does it make sense with the fit of the team? That's
Yeah.
my only concern.
Yeah, and this could very well be one of those things that's in their back pocket in case Olivia is off the board. Then at that point, they do feel more comfortable to trade back and get one of the point guards later on, rather than draft somebody too high at number 3. That's definitely something. And Jeff Pagliucci has already shown, and he's willing to move around in the draft. So I just don't see a world in which if Olivia Miles is on the board, they trade the number 3 pick. I just
Yeah,
don't see
no.
that. Now, if
Yeah,
she's off the board, yeah, of course, listen to all options at that point.
yeah. Yeah, I think once we gonna know something around that second pick anyway, because it's either gonna come in quick because we know we getting Olivia, or if Olivia's gone, we're making that call. I think probably most likely than not.
Agreed. Agreed. Anything else on the draft before we get up out of here, brother? We got to get
I
talk about these
mean,
rival teams, but anything left on the
I
draft?
mean, it's still a lot of things that can happen. There's a lot of season. The season just started. Like Haley Van Lift having Helly, she can skyrocket up the draft, and it's a it's quite a few people like that's dropped that like even Sanaya River, she's dropped. Like she can come back and sky up, and that can completely change how we looking at the whole mock draft. So yeah, there's just bear with, just know, chat. This is a very, 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 very early just predictions out here.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. All right, we'll keep. It's a living thing. We'll keep going on as the season goes on. Now that the college season is in full force, we'll be coming out like power rankings and things like that for Sky Picks. And still haven't really addressed what to do at number 10. We'll get to that as well. But before we get out of here, we got to talk about Unrivaled. Unrivaled season starters right around the corner in January. We're a little over 6 weeks away from that starting, and they announced the teams, the rosters, and the coaches. Let's go through this. So on the laces, you have Andrew Wade being the coach here. You got Kelsey Plum, Kayla McBride, Alyssa Thomas, Courtney Williams, Kate Martin, and Stephanie Dolson on this team. How you feeling about this team here, Steve-O?
It's a solid team. I like how it's kind of structured. Like I kind of really like how all of them structured. This is a real balanced team. Like if you don't take them, none of these teams I can feel like you could take lightly. And I feel like this is one of those teams that they're going to take lightly. Is going to bite them in their ass.
Yeah, definitely. The Luna Owls. DJ Sackman is the coach. You got Skylar Diggins, Alicia Gray, Nefessa Collier, Natasha Cloud, Shakira Austin, and they got a wild card spot here, which I don't know what that's about. But
That's the thing. They it's two teams that got two wild cards. So they ain't announced the last two people of
last two
arrival.
players,
So
yeah.
that's what it is. So when it comes to that, like I don't really want to say nothing on it yet because based off that card and who they get, it can blow. It can like skyrocket how I feel about them, or it can lower it. So it's a solid team for now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a deep team. The Mist up next. Phil Handy is their coach. They got
It's
Jewel
cheating.
Lloyd.
It's
Huh?
fucking cheating. I'm just come out and say right now. I've been talking about it all day. It's fucking cheating.
Stack fucking team. Jewel Lloyd, Dejanay Carlton, Brianna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Rakia Jackson, and Leah Edward. First of
Fucking
all,
cheating.
people got to remember Brianna Stewart is one of the owners of this league. She's on the most stacked team on this league.
Literally. You got a Hall of Fame point guard, a former point guard, a best point guard in the league, and Drew Lloyd, who you also played with. Then you go get two of the best goddamn rookies in the league.
Yeah,
I saw that shit. I was like, how did they allow like feed team? They even crazy? That's crazy. That's crazy.
that's wild, man. Next up, the Phantom with Jackie Young, Marina Mabry, Tatu, Tiffany Haize, Brittany Griner, and another wild card spot on
This is
this.
my dark horse team.
Okay,
That's a
like
that's
it.
a nice team.
That's a
Like
nice
that's
team.
a really nice team. Like and it's a big ass team. And side two next to goddamn Brittany ain't. Good luck.
Fair. That's not fair at all.
Yeah.
Next up, the Rose. They got a girl, Angel Reese, on this one. Clea Copper's on here as well. Too bad we didn't get to see them both in a Chicago Sky uniform. Chelsea Gray, Brittany Sykes, Lexi Hull, and Azare Stevens are on this roster. A lot of former Sky players on this one.
This is my second dark horse team. Why? Brittany Sykes is a bucket, and you don't want to see her no 3-on-3.
That's a fact.
And nobody know that. That's the thing. So like and like not too. We got a legitimate sniper, Lexi, and she worked on her three. It's not like she's been like she actually worked. She got extremely better, and she was the reason why they had to put her in the starting lineup towards the end of the season. So I think for them to have a certified generational rebounder and a sniper on your team, they gonna win a lot of games.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Last team, the Vinyl, coached by Teresa Weatherspoon. They got Enrique on this team, Ron Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Jordan Canada, Ray Burrell, and Derica Hamby on this team.
It's nice, but it's just like you got two. I feel like you got 2 point guards that's too similar, or two guards that's too similar. Jordan, she can facilitate, but she a bucket, and we already know Enrique a bucket. So like you gonna catch some people like I feel like they're gonna catch some teams that's not like good defensively 1-on-1. But if they run up to a team that's like running or like a well-oiled team, they ain't gonna have a chance.
That's that. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. So this rival kicks off January 17th. So we're a little under 2 months exactly away from this league starting off. All games are going to be played in Florida, I believe. In the first game, the tip-off game is the Mist and the Lunar Owls. So yeah, I'm excited about this, bro. I'm really excited about this. And then a little while after that, we'll have Athletes Unlimited. So it's gonna be a lot of women's basketball. A lot of women's basketball.
I just thought about it. Ryan Howard, Jordan. It's only one ball. That's too many motherfuckers that need the ball. Yeah, it is. Like and I mean, and I will say they do have an advantage with Ryan and De'Erica. They just run a bronze together, so they're gonna have an advantage there. So that's true. But Phantom is that sleeper for real. Be will.
We'll see. It's gonna be a fun team, a fun thing to watch. I'm not mad at this at all. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Steve, or anything that we missed before we get out of here, brother?
No, we covered that all.
Yeah, we did that, man. Apologize for not the consistent content that we had in the season. I've had plans to do episodes, but honestly, the Bulls and the Bears have been keeping me busy, and it's been stressful. But we will get something together more more frequently, especially before Unrivaled starts, and then we'll be a lot more consistent there because I already know me and Steve are both going to be watching all these games. So.
Hey, I might even be there.
Hey, listen, hey, go have fun with that. Yeah, we haven't talked about it. Anyway, we'll talk about it after we get off. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Chicago Sky Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central at gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. And we'll see you guys next time we go.